Hey there, thanks for listening to Season 1, Episode 3 of the Daisy Glaze Podcast. I'm Henry Martinez. Today I'm taking you back to a time, not that long ago actually, where we came closest to harmonious race relations in our country. And funnily enough, it was about the music. I've always said I was born in the sweet spot of time here in America. Born a decade earlier in 1958. And I would have had memories of the strife and conflict of the civil rights movement and Vietnam War. Born a decade later in 1978, and I would have grown up experiencing the widening liberal and conservative political and cultural divide that began with Reagan's election in 1980 and has only accelerated since. That divide, I would argue, is in maximum overdrive today. But I was lucky. I grew up in the swinging 70s, the me decade. The hippies and flower power had dissipated. We exited the Vietnam War ignominiously. Of course, it wasn't the perfect decade. No decade is. You could say it symbolically began with the Kent State shootings in 1970 and ended with the Iranian hostage crisis and the 3 Mile Island nuclear accident in 1979. In between, though, it was a decade where we breathed a huge sigh of relief as a country. The turbulent 60s with its riots and assassinations were over, and it was time to have fun. Before racist radio programmers took over and implemented rigid formats that divided listeners by color and musical genre, we had a brief, wondrous period where you could hear Led Zeppelin, Stevie Wonder, and Johnny Cash back to back to back. It was called freeform radio, and you could hear all kinds of music played together regardless of its genre or roots. It could be pop, rock, country, soul, reggae, disco, it didn't matter. Here was the unexpected yet positive outcome. Regardless of whether you were white, black, or brown, we all together enjoyed this diverse and incredible blend of music. You could go to a concert in the 70s in which Earth, Wind & Fire shared the bill with the likes of Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, Traffic, and Jethro Tull. For that brief yet glorious period, we moved to the music together. We jammed together. Believe me, I was a personal witness to this. Even in the small town I grew up in, all shades of people got together to enjoy this thing called music that brought them enjoyment and harmony. It ended with the dawn of the 80s. Sadly, we again surrendered to division according to color and culture. It's hard to believe, but when Prince opened for the Rolling Stones in 1981, he was booed off stage with things thrown at him. Can you believe that? This was Prince, one of the true musical geniuses of recent generations. No excuse for him to be treated that way. I'm hopeful that music can once again bring us together like it did 5 decades ago. To quote the Beatles, we better come together before it's too late. With that, thanks for stopping by for Episode 3 of Daisy Glaze, the podcast. See you again soon as we examine how things were and can still be if we really try.